Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Poker Off Kaz and Mouse Hasu here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. This is game 3 in this matchup, Mouse Hasu spawning here on the south side of the map as the red Protoss player. Meanwhile, Kaz spawned on the north side of the map as the yellow Terran. So Terran versus Protoss here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. Xel'Naga Caverns, if you do not know, is one of my favorite maps just to play on and to cast, just because there are so many viable options. Now, the natural expansion over here is very much exposed by two very large pathways, either from here and from here. However, there are also two additional ways to get in, one through these destructible rocks here, and then this brush clearing over here. So I have seen a lot of Terran proxy play throwing down barracks here in order to try to train up and do a 2-gate push. I've also seen pylons being placed here in order to warp in zealots and put a lot of pressure on the natural expansion. Back in the bases, we do see a 10 pylon being thrown down by Poker Off Kaz. Meanwhile, we do already have a pylon being thrown down by Hasu, and now Hasu continuing to chrono boost more probes out of his nexus and trying to even just simply ignore the 12 gateway, now going for perhaps a 13 or even a 14 gateway. That 14 gateway will be a little bit delayed, and just because he went for more of an economic game. Take a look at the harvester count. Hasu has now double chrono boosted his probe, so he should be able to get a significant economic advantage over Poker Off Kaz in just a little bit, especially since it takes two SCVs, one building a refinery, another building a barracks over here. So that is the discrepancy, 580 versus 380 already early in the game. And now in comes this two SCVs trying to take down this one probe down to 5 hit points. Will it be enough? No. Hasu deciding to be very smart about this and try to pull out with this probe so that it doesn't get taken down. So now we do have a gateway already in position or nearing completion, and also an assimilator over here at the starting location on the south side of the map. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We most likely will see a cybernetics core being placed down over here. Missed this pylon. So with that cybernetics core, it looks as though Hasu wants to go for a higher tech. Yes, especially with that second gas. So most likely we will see only one gateway for a little while and then throw down either a robotics facility or a Stargate. Now taking a look at this Marine now out and about trying to scout, and also one Marine here. However, that Marine was not shooting at that probe. That probe with that movement speed of 2.81 should be able to escape. We do see the second assimilator already down, and now we see another pylon being warped in as well. What will the next building for Hasu be? That will be the critical building. Now chrono boosting that stalker. However, one probe gonna get pincered between two Marines and down it goes. So that probe tried to stay alive. However, two Marines able to capture it in this north side, in this very narrow walkway, and then push them towards each other. We do have one SCV over here, and perhaps we're gonna see a barracks play. I'm not 100% sure what Poker Off Kaz is doing with this SCV hiding off in that brush. One stalker now moving out, as we see Hasu getting up a robotics facility. So that robotics facility hidden off to the side a little bit, and now based upon the rally point, I would assume that Hasu wants to go for an early observer. One stalker now moving out in order to gain sight. However, Poker Off Kaz with 4 Marines on this front door and now massing up more and more infantry units, one tech lab and one with a reactor. So we will be able to see Marines being trained out of this with the reactor, and most likely stim pack being trained off of this one particular tech lab, and then perhaps combat shield. Poker Off Kaz also getting a factory here. Most likely will lift this off in order to do some scouting and then throw down a starport momentarily. Taking a look at the income, we have 21 harvesters for Kaz versus 26 harvesters for Hasu. Hasu now getting another gateway here. So this is going to be a 2-gate so far with a Twilight Council and a robotics facility. So this is a little bit of a divergent in tech, getting that robotics facility and that Twilight Council. What this indicates to me is we should see Stalker Blink play. How that will work is stalkers may try to mass up over here, perhaps a proxy pylon down here, and then they will be able to blink off into this high ground. However, Poker Off Kaz is getting a fair amount of Marines and Marauders, and now getting a starport. So once that starport is completed, we should most likely see a reactor, or just try to train up one medevac. That medevac will be able to keep these units alive for very much longer, as that stim pack now being researched. And yes, we do have that medevac currently being trained. Kaz now moving out with this factory. However, one stalker getting underneath that factory, trying to shoot it out of the sky. So that factory already down to what, 1100 hit points, will be able to move very, very slowly into the space. We do see 2 zealots and now 1 sentry here. And now we have 3 warp gates. What are we researching? We are not researching anything and going straight into the Templar archives. So creating and training this one robotics facility in order to get, do we even have 1 observer? Yes, this was a very expensive observer. So that observer right here, a very, very expensive unit, as he built the robotics facility just for 1 observer so far. This 1 probe now pulling back in order to perhaps do a little bit more mining. And now we see the Templar archives researching Psystorm. So Psystorm now being researched. Most likely we should see more zealots and perhaps even some High Templars starting to be researched as well, or starting to warp in as well, in order to get that necessary energy. Only 1 High Templar so far. I do not see a ghost anywhere coming in from Kaz. So Kaz now expanding to his natural location, does have a command center here, and now this observer gaining sight on this army, able to just know exactly where Poker Alf Kaz's units are at all time. So 1 stalker over here down to 67 hit points. Will it be able to make it? No stalker blink, and oh, not able to get a force field down. I think if he was able to get a force field down, he could have stopped those Marines and then had that stalker walk up that ramp. But he does not want to use that energy very, very needlessly, as he wants that force field to block this ramp here. We do see a factory now landing in this position. So Poker Alf Kaz is going to deny Hasu his natural expansion. I do not believe a Nexus can be placed down anytime soon. However, this command center now lifting off and will be establishing this natural expansion in just a moment. We do see a starport now double training Vikings. So Vikings for the air, perhaps he is expecting Colossus. However, it is going to be Templar archives with Psystorm in order to deal with this massive infantry ball that's already coming in army-wise. 1550 versus 1200. Will Hasu be able to take this game using brilliant Psystorm placage? Probably not. I'm not 100% sure, as these Marines and Marauders now pushing in through once again. Zealots now trying to pull back. The Zealots do not have Zealot charge, so that's a very, very bad engagement, as these Marines and Marauders able to stim very, very effectively. We do see that this factory down to 474 hit points, unable to get this factory to start burning down. 1 Marine sitting here, another Marine and Marauder sitting here, denying any scouting over here to the north. We do have nothing over here. I thought I saw an observer and a little bit of red on the mini-map, but I was mistaken. Taking a look at the harvester count, both sides sitting at 30 harvesters. However, Kaz with mules and able to mine from additional mineral patches, 8 of them to be exact, will be able to get a stronger economic lead, as now we have more barracks being thrown down. We now have 3 High Templars, and now chrono boosting in order to try to get even more starting energy on this amulet. We do see Vikings now in the air, just doing some scouting, making sure that there isn't any sort of warp prism play into the back of the base, and now just also making sure that with this 1 Xel'Naga watchtower will be able to gain sight into this location over here. Now Zealots engaging over here against these Marauders, Marines and Marauders trying to fight back and forth, and now Psystorm coming in, just splitting up this army. These Marines and these Marauders unable to continue to stim, as they are very low on energy here. We do see 2 medevacs now in the air trying to heal up these units. This 1 factory should get taken down. And now these High Templars, none of these High Templars got any kills. However, they were able to deal significant damage towards these units and now deplete the energy on these medevacs. We now see these High Templars perhaps moving out once again. A lot of Zealots. The Zealot with Zealot charge, perhaps they should be immune to the concussive shells while they are charging. I mean, that would allow these Zealot charge to perhaps run head on into these Marauders and actually be a decent counter towards these Marauders while that charge is being activated. The Zealots now perhaps going to re-engage Marines and Marauders trying to take down this Nexus. Nexus already down to 12 hit points. I don't know if it was canceled or not. It does look like it was canceled, as these Zealots trying to pull back once again. A Psystorm cast right there, that duration, preventing any of these Marines and Marauders to try to run through that and create a temporary damage wall there. We do see Marines and Marauders perhaps trying to engage once again. Zealots, now with that Zealot charge, getting slowed down continually, and now trying to fight back and forth. Zealots now able to get us around. These High Templars perhaps need a movement upgrade. Moving at 1.88 is very, very slow. More Psystorm cast into there, so that Psystorm able to stack on top of those units. And now these Marines and Marauders trying to use that Psystorm, taking a lot of damage, and another Psystorm being cast across, and a lot of Marauders taking critical damage there and getting taken down. So taking a look at the army, 2250 versus 2050, and now these units will be forced to pull back. We do see Ghost now complementing the army of Poker off Kaz, and all of this off of 5 barracks so far with 1 Ghost Academy. We do see the Mobius reactor research has been completed. EMP Shockwave revealing that 1 observer, and now that was an even trade. I would say 25 energy or 75 energy off of a Ghost in order to take down that observer. We do see High Templars now being just being positioned so that more than 1 EMP Shockwave or an EMP Shockwave will not be able to deplete more than 1 energy from these High Templars. This Nexus has been completed, so this army is just mass High Templars and mass Zealots so far. These Zealots will be able to engage as probes now being transferred from the main base to the natural. 3100 mineral army for Poker off Kaz, 2400 for Mouse Hasu. 1 observer sitting here able to gain sight, knows that there is an expansion there. 1 observer able to gain sight here, and I believe there was there a feedback? Yeah, I believe Hasu was able to feedback. There was a little bit of a splash mark there. Yeah, so 1 Ghost was taken down. There is another feedback onto another Ghost and another another Psystorm there being cast. So that Ghost unable to get any EMP shockwaves off. However, this is now a very tight ball of units here. So as these High Templars currently sitting on 5 High Templars will be able to perhaps move out and then engage. Zealots, however, do have a movement upgrade speed of 2.75, and now we had a drop over here. However, High Templar Zealots were able to push that attack back, so Poker off Kaz unable to use these high mobility of these Marines and Marauders to try to push into this location. 1 observer now out. We just see more Marine Marauder medevac play coming in from Poker off Kaz, as these Zealots perhaps going to try to cast more Psystorm, and now we see some missile turrets. A Psystorm cast there, and now Zealots perhaps going to try to engage, perhaps get a surround off. No, not getting the surround off. High Templars may be able to get off another Psystorm. 1 Psystorm, and able to deal more damage across those units here. Vikings still on patrol with 1 Zealot at this location, making sure there is not an expansion. And now a Ghost fighting a Zealot, and that Ghost was once again taken down. This army may try to intercept and take down the Zealot over here. The Zealot will perhaps be able to deal some damage, but not very much. Another drop coming in over here. So Marines, Marauders, Ghost and medevac trying to deal more damage. Zealots with a movement speed of 2.75. Stalkers without that blink, unable to shoot that medevac out of the air, and now an even larger bio ball being massed in this position. Are we going to get a Psystorm? Yes, 1 Psystorm off onto those units, able to take down 2 Marauders before that, and before the Marauders get the shot off. And there we go, more Psystorm, just trying to herd these units together. Another Psystorm being cast, and down goes another Marauder. So that, down goes another High Templar. So Marauders, Marines, High Templars continuing to battle it out. Poker off Kaz being very careful with his bio ball, wants to make sure to minimize the damage and the effectiveness of that Psystorm. Now stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Mouse Hasu and Poker off Kaz here in the Xel'Naga Caverns.